This video is going to be all about food. Okay, not just food, food and cycling. Two of my favorite things on the planet. My wife will tell you, no, those are not your top two. Your top two are sleeping and watching TV. And she's got a point. So this morning, I'm actually meeting her. But first, we need something to start the day. Let's go get a coffee. That was wonderful. How might one describe that? Treacly rocket fuel. Really, really strong. Super sweet. Just what you need to get started. What do you order?
Just two coffee.
That's
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Why?
Haven't decided what
Why are you staring at the camera?
I want to appreciate.
Oh boy. This is Serene. Hi. Friendliest bakery owner in Singapore. Hey, why didn't you steal it over on your side? When I was a freshman in high school, I decided to become a bike racer. Kind of just like that. Not really. I mean, my parents had just gotten divorced. I was living with my mom, visiting my dad on the weekends. Maybe every other weekend, I don't remember. One time he showed up with a bike rack on his car and a bike. I didn't even know my dad had a bike. He told me, go get your bike, which of course I did. We started driving and he said, hey, we're gonna go ride with these guys. I said, okay. So it turns out he had joined kind of a bike touring club. A bunch of guys riding around pretty slow. But I remember I started riding with these guys and there was one guy in particular. Whenever I tried to pass him, he would speed up. And he would never let me pass him. It got to the point where he and I were sprinting all out at the end. And I didn't beat him. And he looked very pissed off that I'd even tried to beat him. And from that point on, I was hooked. And then as a sophomore in high school, my friend Alex decided he wanted to be a bike racer too. And of course, it's the early 80s. Bike racing wasn't that popular. There was nobody else in our high school that was racing bikes. We didn't know what we were doing, so we trained with these college kids and these old dudes. Of course, the old dudes were probably like 25, 30. And since we didn't know what we were doing, we just followed these guys. We did whatever they did. Turns out they didn't know what they were doing either. Their idea of training was to go out 6 days a week and just try to smash the hell out of each other. It was like a race every day. We did a lot of miles. We would sprint 4 or 5 times a ride. You'd have to pay $1 if you lost the sprint. Now, I was in high school, I barely had any money. But I was more than happy to try to win some, which I rarely did. Fast forward about 30 years, living in Brooklyn, I was working in Queens, which means you don't have to go through Manhattan. And my company had a really cool policy that you could ride your bike to work. They had a bike room, they had showers. They made it really attractive to commute by bike. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do this. I went out, I bought myself a commuter bike, which I still have, by the way. And I started riding to work every day. It was probably around 8 miles each way. And just like when I was 16, 17, I would try to smash every single commute. And everybody in New York was similar, and all the commuters. It was like a race. Every day to go to work was like a race. Nobody wanted to get past. And so I got hooked on cycling again. And it's very interesting because while I was away from cycling for God knows how long, the science of training has changed completely. From there being no science to now exactly knowing how you should train and the importance of rest and recovery. And it turns out, surprise, surprise, you really shouldn't be smashing more than twice a week. The rest of the time, you should be doing base miles. So base miles are just slow, high volume riding. Slow, keeping your heart rate at a certain level. Low heart rate, long mileage. And this is what I'm doing now, especially in the quote-unquote off-season. You should just be doing base. So last week I did 12 hours. This week I'm doing 14. And I'm shooting for 17 next week. Maybe 18, we'll see. So for 3 weeks, you're just bumping up the hours, keeping the heart rate low. And then in the 4th week you rest. You do about 6-7 hours. And that's a month's worth of training. And I'm gonna do that for 4 months. Now, as you can imagine, doing 16 hours in Singapore is tough because it's a small place. You end up going over the same roads over and over. So what I like to do is set myself a nice food target. I think about where I want to eat at the end of the ride. And that's a real motivating factor. It was a lot easier pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, you could ride across the bridge to Malaysia, do some riding up there, or even take the ferry to Indonesia, ride around some of the islands south of Singapore. Now with COVID, you can't leave the island, and it's maddening. I mean, Indonesia and Malaysia are so close to us. I can see them from my balcony. That's how close they are. If you don't believe me, check this out. Told you. Right before COVID hit, I managed to do one race in Ipoh in Malaysia, a hill climb, which was really fun. Then I did another one in Bali, in Indonesia, and then literally right after that Bali race, everything got locked down. I didn't really have the fitness to do those races, but I was just trying to get back in the swing of things. Hopefully now that I've been training during the COVID times, I've upped my fitness a bit, just a bit, hopefully. All right, week 2 is done, 14 hours in the bank. Celebrating with a little breakfast ride, meeting the old lady for breakfast, hitting the back alleys.
I see. Favorite breakfast, patty noodle.
Time for a chat with my coach to see what he advises for today. Coach. Hey, Coach. What do you think I should do today? Rest, is that what you're telling me? Alrighty. Thanks so much. I want to show you my rain jersey. Every time I wear this jersey, it rains.
Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, bass.
Coming down to the end of week 3. Thank goodness. Next week is my rest week, and I've been good. I didn't do anything stupid like, for example, ride with the Smash Brothers. You know, these guys. That would be the dumbest thing you could do.